Happy Monday once again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another review of Monday Night Meh. That's all this show was. Really tough to get through this one. I guess at the end of the day, it wasn't horrible or anything, but very few things of substance took place here, and it was all centered around the double contract signing, which, much like about, I think, 3 matches tonight, morphed into an impromptu tag or an impromptu match. A lot of that going on tonight as well on Raw. But overall, in terms of storylines and furthering pay-per-view angles and shit like that, it was really just centered around the champs, and everything else was just kind of whatever. So we'll get into it here. Not a great show, but I think Sasha and Bayley, their presence there definitely helped. Big fan of Bayley right now, especially on commentary. Keep her on as often as possible, if you ask me. And I think Sasha is the hottest woman in the business right now and doing great work. So they helped the enjoyment of the show, but overall, I ain't giving this Raw a very good grade. And of course, we're right off the heels of all the positive COVID tests that took place last week that I ranted my balls off on the Winged Eagle podcast on Saturday, if you want to check that out. And we knew there was going to be a lot of significant pieces possibly missing. I noticed Michael Cole wasn't on commentary tonight. I don't know what his deal is. Or is he on SmackDown? Never mind. He's on SmackDown. Don't pay attention to me. So we knew there was probably going to be a lot of holes and holes that needed to be plugged, things like that for a show like this. But there was a lot of filler, like I said, a lot of impromptu matches and tags, a lot of replaying and rehashing of what already happened, and that sort of thing. So anyway, we'll do our best with it tonight, and it probably will not be a long live stream this evening. I had myself a little bit of a night last night, and for someone my age, I can't just shake these things off like I could when I was 25. So I'm not 100%. I'm not like my man Devlin, who could, as I saw on the cruise, can, my God, endless energy, and he could do whatever, and he felt no pain. That's not the case when you're in your 40s, so I'm a little slower tonight, so I probably won't be rambling my ass off too long tonight. And I also have a scheduling note for you, because the way my schedule happens to work out this week, I'm actually off again on Wednesday. And I know I swore off doing Wednesday night reviews and live streams just because the last 2 times I've done them, my audience has been really low. But it's Fyter Fest and Great American Bash happening back to back. Could be some interesting competition there, and could be some good shows on Wednesday. It might be really fun. So my plan is to give it another shot on Wednesday night. I'll probably wait a bit until after both shows are over, because I want to try to review both. So maybe like an hour after they go off the air, I'll be up here live, and we'll talk about night 1 of Fyter Fest and night 1 of Great American Bash. And if all works out well, I'll do it the next Wednesday too, but I'm not sure. I'm probably not. So anyway, that'll be the plan this Wednesday. You'll get me on a special day in 48 hours from now. So keep a lookout for that. George Morris, what's going on, man? Appreciate the $2. Good to see you. How is it going? What is new? It's going great, and not much is new. Working, dealing with the COVID. A little bit concerned with that because we've been so distracted by other things. You know, this is still a very big issue, and actually more serious now than it was at the start, and I feel like we're not really coming to terms with that. And there's a lot of states with increasing cases. San Diego had some record cases just in the last 10 days alone that have surpassed all of the cases of the past 5 months. So there's a lot of kind of scary stuff. Some states are making some more mandates with the masks. Other states are closing shit down. So we might be on the heels of another, little stall here in life, and it just sucks. And we don't see, there does not seem to be a light at the end of the tunnel yet. So that's kind of my primary focus right now, of really wanting to get back to life, I do have a trip scheduled for September up in Northern California for my friend's 40th birthday, and I would really like to go to that. Tickets are dirt cheap. I'm holding off on buying it now because I don't know what's going to happen, but, it sure would be nice, if things would start getting better one of these days. But in terms of the virus and everything, like I say all the time, however you guys are dealing with it, I hope everyone's doing well and staying alive, staying safe, staying healthy. And appreciate another 2 from you, George. Both cats are fighting and tearing up the place. I know what that's like. My guys have absolute brawls, last man standing matches up in here. And I've got, for California, a pretty little apartment, and they destroy shit in here, man. And sometimes they'll land on me and step on my balls. It hurts so bad. They can be a mess. They can be madness, those cats, I'll tell you. But anyway, let's get into Monday Night Raw. We got a little bit of news to get into as well. Maybe we'll just open with that because it's nothing too crazy. Meltzer is reporting that WWE is actually probably the likely landing spot for Tessa Blanchard, as they have sent out feelers to her. Apparently they're not interested in AEW, which surprises me. I thought that maybe they just don't want the controversy, but in terms of like their women division using a boost, she's, going to be the hottest woman free agent out there. So why wouldn't you make a play for her? I know she comes with baggage, but I guess they just don't want to deal with it. Even her dad is there. So looks like WWE and NXT is going to be the spot for her, and they'll probably straighten her out. And any problems she had and bullying issues and being a complete dick, like we've heard from so many women who have described her as that, maybe this will turn her around. I know Chelsea Green's not fond of her, and now if she heads to WWE, they might cross paths again. So we'll see. We'll see where Tessa lands. I'm indifferent about it. If she turns up in WWE, great. If she doesn't, don't care. Don't really care. We'll see. And it looks like Gallows and Anderson signing with Impact is a done deal. They've officially signed. There was rumors, I think Ryan Satin broke it a couple days ago, that there was rumors that the contracts were pretty much a done deal, yet to be signed, and it was going to include the opportunity to work some New Japan dates, which would be great to see them go back there. So I'm glad that they've landed a contract. We'll see them on TV here soon, and when everything gets back to normal, we can see them back in Japan. I mean, Anderson's an original Bullet Club member, right? So that would be cool. Congrats to them, and I'm glad that they've landed on their feet because they're awesome dudes. And that's really all I had for the news. Nothing too earth-shattering going on other than that today from what I saw, even though I got a really late start in my day. In terms of Raw tonight, we'll talk about these results. Like I said, not much of substance here. I do like the way they opened the show. Opened it up with a brawl. Like when the show went on the air, it's just like a pull-apart, bench-clearing brawl going on, and I second-guessed myself. I actually thought that I turned Raw on an hour late, and I caught the contract signing at the top of the first hour, and I was like, no, this is the opening of the show, so that was kind of interesting. They tried to do the contract signing. They did do them at the same time, which was cool, but as the show goes on the air, Sasha and Bayley and Asuka are brawling with each other. McIntyre and Ziggler come out, and Drew, they kind of sit down, cooler heads prevail. Everybody kind of takes their seats, and Ziggler and Drew do a little bit of talking first, and Drew actually offers to let Dolph Ziggler choose the stipulation for their match at Extreme Rules, just to, I guess, add a little bit more speculation that maybe Ziggler can actually win this match, which I don't expect him to. He's just kind of a place filler, opponent for Drew, I think, to get to SummerSlam, and probably was going to be a one-off here. Can't imagine this going beyond this unless they do a rematch on Raw, which actually is likely. So we'll see what Ziggler picks, what kind of stipulation. It's going to have to be something that dramatically benefits him and gives him the advantage. So what kind of match would he choose that would give him the advantage, unless he picked, hey, it's going to be a 6-on-1 handicap match with me and 5 of my friends versus you, and if any of us pin you, I'm the world champion. That's the stipulation I would make if I was Ziggler, but we'll see what he comes up with and what trick he has up his sleeve. Asuka and Sasha get their chance to talk trash. I am really looking forward to this match. I think it's actually a good one to put on this pay-per-view. As silly as the Extreme Rules pay-per-view seems with the horror show tagline, and as up in the air as everything has been, this card isn't too horrible, especially when you see Asuka and Sasha on there, and I think this is going to be fun. So they say their piece, they sign their contracts. I think there's some more brawling to close the show, or to close the contract segment, and then Drew and Ziggler get in a little scuffle, but Ziggler scurries away, and that sets up a mixed tag match to be in the main event. So you kind of knew that was going to happen there. It's going to be Asuka and McIntyre taking on Sasha and Ziggy, and that match was set for the main event. And like I said, I would love more than anything to see Sasha 2 belts, but I just feel like the storyline is heading for her and Bayley. That title has got to cause the rift between them. They've already teased dissension for 2+ years now. At some point, the way I envisioned it is the whole thing finally imploding and the two of them wrestling like it's SummerSlam for the SmackDown title, and that's the belt that Sasha wins. Whether or not they're tag champs through all of this, I don't know. But if I'm WWE, I'm booking Asuka to win here. Maybe with some accidental help from Bayley. Maybe Bayley interferes, fucks things up for Sasha. And then they can do the deal where Sasha's like, look, you screwed my championship shot up, so you can make it up to me by giving me a shot at your belt. Or if they're just going to swerve us and do a 2-woman power trip like somebody mentioned to me tonight on Twitter and have all 4 belts on Bayley and Sasha, who are really the hottest female acts in the company right now, and make them like an Austin Triple H type of thing. I wouldn't be opposed to that. It's just they've been they've been together and swerving us on the split for so long. At what point do you just forget about it and keep them friends forever, or do you actually do the split? So I think when Sasha is a world champion again, it's going to involve defeating Bayley. But I could be wrong. She could beat Asuka at the pay-per-view. I just don't see it. I think Asuka needs to go into SummerSlam. Like I said all along, a lot of people thought that when she was given the title by Becky Lynch that she was a transitional champion. I didn't think so. I was thinking she'd have at least a 3-month run and then maybe drop the belt. And if you got a 3-month run, I mean, I don't know if you're really a transitional champion. And if it was up to me, I'd keep the belt on Asuka for the rest of the damn year. It's just not, that's usually not what WWE does. And I put on Twitter tonight, there's no words in the English language to accurately describe my love for Asuka. She is just an absolute treasure and a joy to watch on TV. So I want to see her win at Extreme Rules, and Sasha and Bayley can do their thing for the belt at SummerSlam. My opinion. I could be wrong, though. Don't listen to me. We had... I'm just reading the chat here for a second. Hey, Ramon Coffee, good to see you, man. Appreciate the $2. Did you attend Judgment Day in 2003? I did attend Judgment Day in 2003. The stage was to the left of me, and I was pretty much in front of the ring, but I was up on the second level. I was opposite of, there's a spot on the pay-per-view where Austin, I think, is in one of the press boxes. I was on the other side of that. So I just remember the set at that show, being pretty amazed by it. It was really weird, just scaffolding all the way up to the ceiling. And it was an okay show. I had pretty fond memories of it. And that was near the end of my show-going days. I only went to a couple of shows after that. And my last show being in early 2005 before I finally returned in 2018 at the Survivor Series. So yeah, I was there, man. I was there. Where the hell was that? Had to have been Charlotte. Was it Charlotte? Can't remember. It was North Carolina or Virginia. But yeah, I was there. And George, 2 more from you. I appreciate it. My barber was sentenced to 58 years in prison. Jesus. For what? Yikes. Damn. Joshua Aparicio, good to see you as well. Thank you also for $2. Just want to stop by and say you're awesome. You're awesome too, Joshua. Always love seeing you here. I appreciate the compliment. Nick Musser, new swine flu in China, said it could be pandemic. I saw 2020. We're all going to fucking die. God. Anywho, where'd we leave off in the Raw results? Big Show promo was up next. Y'all, are they really setting us up for Big Show and Randy Orton on a pay-per-view in 2020? This is a match that we didn't want to see in 2009, and we're still getting it in 2020. At least that's what it appears to be. Big Show's pissed. He wants to call out Randy Orton. He interrupts an Andrade and Angel Garza promo backstage. Kind of interesting what they're doing there. Garza is trying to sweet-talk referee Jessica. Chuck looks a little bit jealous, and she kind of walks up like, hey, what are you talking to the referee about? So I kind of like that because Angel's been hitting on her. And Zelina, of course, gets in her face, and she calls her $2 Chuck for like the 3rd week in a row. That's already getting old. Knock it off, Zelina. They jaw a little bit, and Big Show tells him that he's pulling rank. I know you guys got a tag match up next. Tough shit. I'm going out to the ring right now to deal with Randy Orton. So he goes out to the ring to cut a promo, and he's, of course, interrupted by Zelina and Andrade and Garza, who are kind of pissed that he interrupted backstage, and they threaten to jump him. They kind of surround the ring, and that's when Ric Flair comes out. 71-year-old Ric Flair, working in a performance center that has just had in the neighborhood of 3 to 4 dozen positive COVID tests. I don't know what they're doing. Ric Flair, I know, can easily decline to work, but why the hell is the WWE asking him to work? I just find it gross and irresponsible, and I don't know why Ric Flair isn't saying, maybe I shouldn't work. I don't know why Charlotte is saying, Dad, I don't know why I don't want you to work. And I don't know why WWE is saying, let's not ask Rick to come down here because his health could be at risk. And I know Vince is older than him, but Vince is the owner of the company. Ric Flair, I don't really trust his judgment a lot of times. So I kind of wish Ric Flair wasn't on TV, especially when his role here in this is virtually useless. And he just came out to basically tell Big Show that he's in full support of Randy Orton, and Randy Orton's the best wrestler in the world, and Big Show's going to find out why he's the legend killer, and if he keeps pushing this issue, he's going to pay for it, and all that shit. And the Viking Raiders wind up coming out to stop Garza and Andrade from eventually attacking the Big Show, and we went to commercial, and when we came back, we had the scheduled tag match with Andrade and Garza taking on the Viking Raiders, and what I didn't like about this is that Andrade and Garza seem to hate each other. There was more dissension in this match where they got pissed at each other. Zelina had to hop off commentary and kind of smooth things over during the commercial break. And when they come back, not only do they win, but they win pretty much clean over the Viking Raiders, who lost the tag match against the Street Profits last week. And what are they doing with these guys, man? They were such badasses. I wish I could just rewind and go back to the days when they were the whatever the hell they were in NXT. Viking Machine. What were they? They've changed their name like 3 times, right? That's what I miss, like when they were just having kick-ass matches there. And considering the current state of the tag team division, as my cat's trying to get in the cupboard. Hey, knock it off. Knock it off. The state of the tag team division in NXT, I think they could be useful there, but it feels like, I don't know, are they on their way out or something? Just a shame what they've done to them. But anyway, they went down, and also Garza and Andrade would be doing double duty because they would be booked in a 2-on-1 handicap match later on in the night against the Big Show. And in case you're wondering, I'm just going to scroll down to that match. Big Show, of course, wins, defeated Garza and Andrade. Andrade ate the punch for the win. I think there was more dissension there between the two during the match, and it looks like in the coming weeks, probably next week or whatever, they're going to announce Big Show and Randy Orton, I guess, for Extreme Rules, I guess, is what they're going to do here, unless they just blow this thing off on Raw. But feels like that's going to be a pay-per-view match. I would assume it's going to be a squash, pushing Randy Orton huge. He's got a lot of momentum right now. He's, I think, the hottest male on the roster right now. He's doing great stuff, got a lot of momentum, and he should easily put down the Big Show and head into SummerSlam, assumingly to take on Drew McIntyre, but there's also the possibility that he might be heading to NXT. And I think it would be cool if he headed to NXT after Drew. Like if Drew beats him and continues his run, then Orton goes down to NXT maybe in September, which would be a lot of fun. Don't really know what WWE's plans are. Some people might want Randy Orton to win the belt. I think a lot of people are enjoying Randy Orton's work, so am I. I'm not opposed to putting the belt on him. He's just not really who I saw taking the belt off of Drew, but if they did it, I'm not going to be screaming at the top of my lungs. I'm not going to have an aneurysm over it. I'd be totally cool with it. So who knows what their plans are for Orton. I assume Big Show is just a little speed bump for him to annihilate and kill another legend, but is it a match we need? Not really. We'll rewind back now to earlier on in the show. We had R-Truth, thank God, won back the 24/7 title. So Tozawa held the belt for 7 days, winning it last week. They actually had a match in the ring. R-Truth won it back and escaped the ninjas after the match. And now I can die a happy man. I can sleep tonight. R-Truth has his baby back, and that's all I care about. Later on, he ran into some guys backstage. I think it was Ricochet, Cedric, and somebody else, maybe Apollo. And he called Cedric the Entertainer, which I thought was hilarious. So that was cool. Next up, we had a Seth Rollins promo. They had Ray and Dominic appear on the screen. You know, Dominic out there, fearless as ever, looking like Walter. Really just kind of like the kid's attitude a little bit. He's just surprisingly better than I thought he would be. Humberto Carrillo and Aleister Black come out because they're still kind of sticking up for Ray and Dominic in this situation. Of course, that leads to an impromptu tag. I didn't notice Austin Theory out there, but I don't know the story on that. I know he had some speaking out allegations on him, but he also might have been one of the talents that tested positive. Not really sure where he was or what was going on there, but I only noticed Murphy and Rollins out there, so that, of course, led to the impromptu tag. Rollins and Surfy Murphy and Black and Humberto, and the Monday Night Messiah got the win here with Humberto Carrillo eating another pin, and then after the match, they continued the attack. They put Rey Mysterio's mask on Humberto and rammed him into the steps and continued the humiliation after the match. So I don't know what they're going to do for Extreme Rules. It seems like, and I wasn't paying complete attention to the promo, there wasn't any sort of challenge issued, right, in the Rey Mysterio promo on the Tron. I feel like they're going to save this for SummerSlam and not rush it for Extreme Rules, but maybe. So unless I missed something in the promo, nothing is set yet for these guys, and it feels like they will stretch it. So maybe you get some sort of a combination of a match at Extreme Rules involving Rollins or Murphy or Aleister Black or something like that. Who knows? After that, we had a Charlotte update. WWE is claiming that she has broken her collarbones. The injury was suffered in the brutal attack from Nia Jax last week, and she rammed her arm into the trash can lid and all that stuff. And last week on the Raw review, I didn't really understand and realize that that's what they were doing. I was assuming that they were just setting Charlotte up for a showdown with Nia Jax and kind of giving her something to do to keep her out of the title picture right now while other people deal with that. But it turns out she's taking some time off, healing up some injuries. She might get surgery, I think, and she'll be out for a while, possibly until early 2021. So that looks to be confirmed now by WWE, even though she does have a kayfabe injury, and we wish her the best, Charlotte. She posted some pretty freaking hot pictures today on Twitter. Somebody tagged me in like 3 of them. So she seems like she's doing fine and ever as conceited as ever. Good old Queen, Miss WrestleMania. Here's a match I love to say out loud. Peyton Royce defeated Ruby Riott. The Iconics ran into Ruby backstage. I think Ruby could whip both her asses by herself. They set up a match. She actually challenges them. She goes, why don't one of you just meet me in the ring, get in the ring with me, and the other one can stand and watch while I beat the shit out of you. They do have the match. It turns out to be Peyton to accept the match, and Peyton beats her, and damn. I guess they must be doing some sort of an angle with Ruby that she's just losing. So if that's all part of it, then no big deal. But damn, Peyton Royce for real. I even put on Twitter about 30 seconds before the pin, I said, if Peyton beats Ruby, I'm joining the circus. 30 seconds later, 1, 2, 3. Ruby is pinned. I bought a lion off the dark web so I can start practicing. That sucks. And we did see Ruby and Liv Morgan kind of cross paths last week. I thought that could maybe lead back to an alliance between the two if they both go on a losing streak here and maybe reform part of the Riot Squad. I'd be down with that. We'll see. But yeah, and hopefully Ruby just bounces back and this is all part of something. Otherwise, for her to get beat by Peyton Royce, yeah, no thanks. I mentioned the handicap match. That was actually up next. MVP took on Apollo Crews. He had a little help, but he got a win over the United States champion. And after the match, Lashley attacked Apollo Crews and put him in the full Nelson until Ricochet and Cedric Alexander made the save. And that, of course, set up another impromptu match with Lashley taking on Ricochet. Now, Apollo, I guess they're going to set up here for Lashley and Crews for the title, right? Moving Lashley, I guess, away from the title for right now, possibly giving him the U.S. title. Still feels like there's potential for Apollo to join the faction. We've seen that a lot in a lot of factions, like the Horsemen have done it. Even the Nation of Domination did it with Ahmed Johnson, where he didn't want to join at first, and then he joined and turned heel. So maybe they do something like that in the future with Apollo. Can't beat him, join him kind of thing. We'll see. But if Lashley does, in fact, take on Apollo for the U.S. title, you got to think Lashley's winning that, right? So we'll see what they do. In the Lashley and Ricochet match, no big surprise there. Lashley got the win. Really gnarly post shot on the outside of the ring that Ricochet took, excuse me, that he completely spun right around and landed hard on the mat. And in the end, I think Lashley beat him with the full Nelson for the win there. And that left us with our main event. It was Sasha Banks and Dolph Ziggler defeating Drew and Asuka. And I was very happy to see this because I don't expect Dolph or Sasha to win at Extreme Rules to win the titles. I think they're both going down. So I felt like they should pick up the win here and should steal the win. And luckily, they did. I was happy to see that. Sasha got a quick pin on Asuka to win the match for her team. Bayley was on commentary, and like I said earlier, I think Bayley on commentary is magic. She is hilarious. I love it when she gets mad. She seems like the type of person that I could see a video being played of her freaking out like in a Trader Joe's, throwing shit all over the place because she was told to wear a mask or something. I love her attitude. She cracks me up. She's the ultimate Karen, and Bayley is the best. So that was all really fun, and I had no real issue with the match because, I mean, is Ziggler really going to beat Drew? Is he? I don't think so. And Sasha, it's debatable with her and Asuka, but I think the story is still with Sasha and Bayley, and giving her the Raw title now, unless you intend to do the two-woman power trip, I don't see what the point of that is. I think the story should be with Bayley, and Sasha should be the one to take that belt off of Bayley. To me, that makes the most sense. So look at that. It took 30 minutes to get through those Raw results, but we can elaborate on it more and answer some questions in the chat and things like that, and maybe even do a quick preview to the Great American Bash, which is pretty funny that they're now branding it a 2-week event, so that's going to be their answer to Fyter Fest, and that should make 2 interesting weeks on Wednesdays. And I think the ratings should be interesting. I mean, at the end of the day, is it going to mean anything who wins? Probably not, but it should be interesting to see who wins, considering NXT got a random big win last week in the ratings. So now you got Fyter Fest versus Great American Bash. You stack up the cards side by side. They both look pretty good. They both look pretty good. So I think on Wednesday night, if I can stay focused, I'm going to attempt the split screen deal and try to watch them both here and do my best to follow them. So should be a fun night for the next couple of Wednesdays in NXT and AEW. Hey, How Easy, what's up, man? Thanks for the $2. Update on the new merch. By the way, you're awesome. Thank you, and I don't know why I'm coughing. Appreciate that. Yeah, update is coming. I've got like 2 new designs, but I think we're doing more, so I want to see all of the ones I get before I decide which ones to put on a t-shirt. But they're coming really, really soon. I've been dragging my feet wrapping up my my new intro for the channel, but I got to film a couple of things first, so that'll be coming here really soon. So a couple little cosmetic things behind the scenes, and I do plan to do some live streams in the month of July. I think I've got 3 on tap now, the first one coming from Dre, and then I got 2 more that should be randomly fun, and I've got a couple of emails to answer that I saw last night that I need to check today, so some of you I owe a message to, and I saw everything, and I'll be getting back to you soon. But yeah, we got some goings on. Plus, I'm working back pretty much full time, so trying to balance everything and getting everything done. I fell behind a little bit, but not too bad. You're still going to get me a ton this week. And yeah, join the Dark Order. Me, I could. I don't think I'd look very good in one of those gimp masks. K-Dogs Kennel, good to see you. Good to see you too, Kobe Bryant, Prince66, and Mike Maxon. Appreciate you again, How Wheezy. You're awesome too, man. Yeah, Ruby and Liv reunion, Zane. I agree. Think that's got to be coming. Scott Novak, your comment about Peyton was the first thing I noticed too. You talking about the backstage one, right? Yeah. Sean doesn't deserve her. Cheers, Uncle Greg. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate that as well. War Raiders. Okay. Couldn't remember. So they were the War Raiders, then the Viking Experience, then the Viking Raiders. Do I have the order right? And then War Machine prior to NXT. Damn. I'd do anything to go back to their War Machine days. They were still pretty good as the War Raiders in NXT. Loved their stuff, but man, they've been a damn joke, man. Feels like they're doing with the Viking Raiders what they intended to do with the Revival, you know, just making them a joke. I think it's just some sort of like personal vendetta with Vince. Like he doesn't want tag team wrestling to really mean anything because then he feels that all the people that have been advocating for it were right. And he doesn't want to admit that or something, and he's just going to constantly troll everybody by making tag team titles a joke. And they got 2 sets of these damn things. Man, wrestling's kind of a mess right now. I ain't going to lie. Nia is so dangerous that you wear a mask and stand 20 feet away from the TV. That's funny. Probably better safe than sorry, right? You never know when one of them potatoes is going to come flying through your TV screen and blacken an eye. Nobody wants that. That's the pay-per-view I was trying to think of. Thank you, Zane. I was like, Orton and Big Show wrestled at a Survivor Series. And that's right. It was 2013, right? Was that the year that they had the Cena and Orton stare down at the end? I remember doing the review of that at my house. Yeah, not liking it. Back in those years of Survivor Series were pretty bad. There's a few years there. I don't even remember. I don't remember 13, 14, 15. I remember 16 a little bit, but like 12. No, 12 I remember too. So I think 13, 14, 15 are stricken from my memory. I have no recollection of them, either one. Weird. I don't know if you'll love a Nia potato. I wouldn't want one. AEW bringing in Scott Norton. Did Scott Norton pass away? Why do I think he did? I don't know. Marcus, I have no idea the update on Kairi Sane. Not sure what her status is. Yeah, that was my point about the Orton Big Show match. It wasn't a matter of how old they are. You know, seeing Orton and Edge in the ring in 2020 is equally as weird, but at least that's a match that we enjoy seeing, and we used to enjoy seeing back when it happened back in the day. We always enjoyed everything Orton and Edge did together. None of us ever wanted anything to do with a Randy Orton Big Show match, even back when they were closer to their prime, and we certainly don't want it now. So I guess just a tool and part of the angle to get Randy Orton over as the killer, as the legend killer, putting down Edge, now putting down another one, putting down Christian the way he did, and leading up to, I guess, his title match at SummerSlam against Mr. Claymore. Oh, yeah, 2015 was Sheamus and Roman Reigns. I kind of remember that, too. Oh, yeah, and Sting's debut in 14. Okay, that kind of rings a bell. The last one I really remember is when the Shield debuted. That was 2012, right? And CM Punk won to be champion for a year since he won it at the previous one. Or no, 2013 was the Shield, right? Coming in, the Ryback and Cena match. So my memory's not so bad. I kind of remember some of this. Or no, it was 2012 was the Shield's debut. Punk won in 2011 at Survivor Series. And then 2012, he had the Shield debuting and he won. Yeah, 2012. Yeah, and that Authority era was crap, too. You had Corporate Kane out there, and he was teaming with the Big Show. And I remember us complaining about that, just how stale it was getting, so boring it was getting. And just the long promos and just the long, drawn-out shit. It was just awful, awful, awful. So that was never fun. Ronnie, is Survivor Series 96 on TV? Didn't I see an advertisement for that? That they were going to show that pay-per-view on FS1 or something? Or was that a weird dream? I remember that. I was living in my second apartment that I'd ever lived in. I'd moved out of the house a couple years before, and I ordered the pay-per-view, and I remember my dad came over. He came over and brought snacks and beers, and he hung out with us, and we watched the show, and he didn't even really like wrestling, but he came and hung out with my roommate. It was weird that he came over for that, but he watched it, and he was pretty impressed. He saw a pretty historic night. Debut of Rocky, Austin and Brett, Sid beating Shawn getting turned on by the New York crowd. Great night, hot crowd, great memories, great times. 22nd anniversary of the Undertaker and Mankind Hell in the Cell King of the Ring match was yesterday. I posted on Twitter my 20th anniversary review I did of that a couple years ago, and I can't believe it's been 22. Damn. Match doesn't seem that old, but it is. And I don't seem that old, but I am. Hey, Clyde, what's up? Yeah, I would like to see Kyrie and Asuka do something. I thought they were going to. I thought once the Kabukis were kind of officially done that they would do some sort of an angle or a match between them. I would really like to see them set something up in NXT because on night one of Great American Bash, we have Io Shirai and Sasha Banks on Wednesday. So it would be cool to see, Io and Asuka against Sasha and Bayley, like in a tag or something in NXT, maybe for the second week or something of Great American Bash. That might be fun. I'd be into that. So we'll see. But we all like Kyrie here on the channel, and we want to see her do something or get out, one or the other. Oh, that was last Tuesday? Okay. I remember seeing that somewhere. Oh, you did, Michael? Yeah, I've met Mark Marrow and Sable myself a couple of times, actually. Mark was cool, and I met him backstage in 96. He was very cool. My dad was with me, and then I ran into him 2 years later outside the Greensboro Coliseum, and he remembered my name. He remembered my dad's name and shit. It was crazy. Super, super nice guy. I think he's very much into motivational speaking and things like that now is what he does. Seems like a very happy and positive guy. I'm glad that he wasn't like a wrestling tragedy or horror story, considering that he was with Sable before and he's probably had some rough times in his life, but he's kept himself together. Seems like a good guy. Yeah, Vontae, I'm down with Nakamura and down with my depression too. I think WWE could have and should have done a lot more with him. Pretty low audience in here tonight too, but we're only 40 minutes in, and it's probably not going to be a very long podcast. I'll wrap this up within the hour. But if you could smash the thumbs up button for me, I would greatly appreciate that. Wow, Marcus Metcalf, thanks for the $2. Your shock pick for Fyter Fest is Brian Cage winning. Maybe. I just can't see it. He just seems too quick. I mean, I know he's a big free agent in everything, but he doesn't seem like the type of guy that would just come in and be put right at the title. Yeah, people know him, but not everybody really knows him. Even I'm only somewhat familiar with him. He doesn't feel like a main eventer to me. Plus, he's so big and bad. You know, I kind of envisioned the formula of just kill a few guys, you know, like they were doing with Lance Archer. You know, just do a few things, get yourself over as a monster who can crush people, and then get a title shot, but he earns it in his first match, and now it kind of, aside from winning the title, doesn't leave him anywhere else to go other than down. So, was that the right decision? I don't know. Who knows? I would have waited. Yeah, I felt like Nakamura was on the right track. We all had high hopes for him when he was in NXT because his whole presentation and the matches he was having there, he was beloved by the audience. And we were worried about that because every time you go to the main roster, that magic is lost, and he was one of the prime examples of that. I feel like they tried. He won the Royal Rumble, got a title match against AJ at WrestleMania, and had some moments, but again, it's just like, I don't know where that magic goes. I don't understand how you have it, and then you don't have it. Once you get there, it's just a completely different environment and atmosphere and everything. So just imagine a life where getting a promotion harms your career. That's not a good career to be in, you know? I wouldn't want that. If somebody offered me a promotion and, you know, and more money, I wouldn't want to be less happy, but, oh, man. Seems out of balance. Whack. K-Dog's Kennel. Appreciate the $5, dude. Had Sting not suffered his career-ending injury against Seth Rollins at Night of Champions 2015, do you think he would have had a brief run with the title down the road? Probably not. I think he might have done another thing or two, but I don't know if I see Sting winning the title unless they just wanted to throw him that bone and give him that feather in his cap. One of the greatest wrestlers of all time, and he's never held that title. Maybe it's something they just want to do and say he was the champ. But aside from that, I don't know. That would be the only reason I think they'd really put the belt on him, is if they just wanted to honor his career and do it. But I'd probably say no on that one. But you never know. How Wheezy? Thanks for 2 more. Appreciate it. Someday I'll meet you some way, somehow. Some way, somehow. All the shit you go to, I'm sure at some point we'll cross paths at a WrestleMania or something. And hopefully we will get on the other side of pandemics and it will no longer be unsafe to go out in the world and live your damn life. And we can meet up. I'm anxious to meet a lot of you guys at the next get-together. Kyrie's contract is up soon. That's right. She did debut 3 years ago. Oh, the only reason you watch AEW is Jericho? Well, that's a good reason. I watch it for a few more reasons than Jericho, but if you're only going to pick one, I guess that's probably one of the best ones you can pick. Sting versus John Cena, oh my God, heaven. Are you sure? I back Cena up, man. I say when everybody says he can't wrestle, I say bullshit, yes he can. Dude is up for Match of the Year candidates every single year he's been in the business, but a match with Sting, I don't know. Wouldn't be a nail-biter, in my opinion. The best wrestler to have never been in WWF and E, there's very few. I'd say Magnum TA, top of my list. Everybody else, for the most part, has been there, or at least passed through at some point. In terms of the size of star, it's got to be Magnum. Got to be. I mean, even guys like, you know, Larry Zbyszko and shit like that, and I think even Bockwinkel would work for Vince Sr., you know, so I mean, I don't know if they really, really count or not, but I think Magnum. Jericho lost the ratings to Sasha Bailey. He did, but why is that a bad thing? Jericho shouldn't be ashamed of that. Sasha and Bailey are great. Nothing to be embarrassed about. Yeah, Dre, I think about that too. I'm really, really loving the Royal Rumble. It seems like what is becoming a tradition of running it in baseball stadiums. I think it's a really cool look with the dugout and the different type of set and environment. And that becoming a staple of the Royal Rumble, I think would be super fun and something they should keep up. But the way it's going out here, I mean, I'm really worried if, even by the end of the year, if we're not even close to this being over yet, and it's just continue to get worse. And boy, this is going to be a 2-year thing or something, I think. It's just, my God. It's a mess. We shall see. Did Triple H kill CM Punk's momentum? I don't know, Alex. I invite you to check out my channel, a video I did a couple of weeks ago. We did a live stream on a Thursday a couple weeks back on the Summer of Punk and the Money in the Bank pay-per-view of 2011. We talked about the pipe bomb, everything surrounding Punk's departure, him coming back, re-signing, the Cena stuff, the Triple H stuff, the Kevin Nash involvement, Alberto Del Rio, the whole deal. We talked about it just a couple of weeks ago, so look that up on my channel, and I probably talk a little bit about that. I mean, Triple H did beat him at Night of Champions, but Punk still, maybe his momentum was stalled a little bit, just the way it was all handled, and I talked about that in the review, that maybe I would have held him off TV slightly longer. You can't hold him off forever when he's as hot as he is, but I think bringing him back one more week was maybe a week or two premature, and they should have let him appear in Ring of Honor or do something to really sell that he's gone, only to crash the party a couple of weeks later and surprise everybody. Definitely some things I would have done differently, but in the end, he survived, and he went into Madison Square Garden and won the title with Howard Finkel as a special personal guest ring announcer, and held the title for a year and 3 months or a year and 2 months or whatever he did. So in the end, I think it worked out for him, but there was talk in that summer 9 years ago that it was all awesome and it all got us, tickled our special places. But at the same time, we were noticing the flaws in some of the logic in their booking, I suppose, as you could say. So, yeah, maybe a little. Devlin says CM Punk ain't never coming back. I think CM Punk's already re-signed, and he's going to show up at Extreme Rules Horror Show. And he's going to interrupt the Sasha and Asuka match and GTS them both, and then cut a shoot promo. That's what I think. Not many people know about that, Devlin. I've got insider information, so consider yourself lucky, and you heard it here first. CM Punk returns at Extreme Rules. Chris Ludecki, appreciate the $5. Who had better chemistry in their matches, Shawn Taker or Nash and Brett? Shawn and Taker. Nash and Brett had okay chemistry. All three of their matches were good. Their King of the Ring match was good when they first met. Nash was still as green as your super chat there, but held his own, did well. I think things got a little bit better, more exciting at the Royal Rumble, even though it went to a no contest. And by the time they got to their Survivor Series title match, it was great. But Shawn and Taker had the more breathtaking matches, the more wow moments, edge of your seat, nail-biting near falls. And they were both more athletic. Taker was more athletic than Nash. Shawn was more athletic than Brett. So I'm selling Nash and Brett and going with Shawn and Taker on that one. I hated WCW removing Rey Mysterio's mask. They were just doing that to everybody, and they were just shitting on the tradition. I understood if the storyline really called for it, because you have unmaskings all the time in Mexico, but I felt like it was really treated very casually. They were just writing things up, and they probably decided that morning, let's take the mask off of Rey, without even thinking about, the history or what it means or anything like that. So I didn't like that. They unmasked Juventud. They unmasked Rey. I think they unmasked somebody else, too. Psychosis, maybe. And they just kept unmasking motherfuckers, and it was crazy. The only thing, and I hate to laugh at this, was because it was a match with Nash. Wasn't it like a match with Nash that he had to win or unmask? And he took the mask off, and Hall and Nash were like, put it back on. Because he, I guess, is so ugly, but he's not. He's a good-looking guy. That was kind of funny, just watching them freak out and tell him to put the mask back on, which is totally disrespectful, but still got a chuckle out of me. But yeah, I was not a big fan of that, never was. And they did a good job of bringing him back to the WWE and still kind of keeping his face a secret. It was in the Money in the Bank review I just did a couple of weeks ago in 2011. It was him and Alberto on the top of the ladder, and Alberto pulled his mask off, and the crowd just ooh, and he covered up his face and hid. So I mean, it still has, it still has value. Like taking off that mask is still kind of a big deal when you do just get a second or two glimpse of Ray's face before he covers it up. We just saw it here recently with Seth Rollins poking his eye out and shit. So when they do that, it still feels like a big deal. And I think despite the unmasking in WCW, I think he was able to regain the importance of the mask, and it became important again. And you could almost like forget about it. Just forget that short time period that he didn't have it on and pretend it didn't happen. It never happened. Greg, it was Nash and Luger. Nash and Luger what? Yeah, Stone Cold. Mike Awesome was in WWE. He had an interesting little journey there between all three companies. He left ECW as the champion and took a big deal with WCW, showed up and attacked Kevin Nash while he was still ECW champion. And that got him so much heat. I mean, my God, for him to do that. So he had to go back there to drop the belt while he was a contracted WWE star. So WWE sent Taz back to Paul Heyman and said, why don't you let him go there and beat Mike Awesome for the title, and then he can drop the belt to one of your guys, basically loaning Taz back to ECW for a short time, and he choked out Mike Awesome in like seconds, completely killing him for WCW. And it was really, at the time, there had only been a couple WWE versus WCW matches when both companies were in existence. The Brian Pillman Memorial shows had a couple where WWF talent and WCW talent were able to work against each other. And I think at one point, like, X123 Kid took on Chris Benoit when they were in opposite companies or something like that. So it had happened before, but not often. And to get Taz versus Mike Awesome and a WWE guy squashing a WCW guy who just signed $1 million deal with the company. He had heat. His gimmick in WCW completely sucked. He was no longer like the ass-kicking monster. He was like an Eddie Money lookalike who liked the larger variety of women. And he was a joke. And then he came into WWE only for a short time, but he was one of the first people there after at the beginning of the Alliance angle. But again, he never really did a whole lot. I don't think his reputation really never recovered. And that's a shame that he passed away because, my God, his matches in ECW, those matches he had with Masato Tanaka still is cringy to watch to this day with everything we know about concussions and CTE. And the absolute punishment and ass-kicking these guys gave each other is almost uncomfortable. It's almost New Jack mass transit level uncomfortable. Go back and watch them. And they did one of those too at One Night Stand, which was equally as brutal, but I dare say that some of their previous ECW matches were even more brutal than that. And that's saying something. So I think Mike Awesome was great. He had great agility for a big guy. He was awesome, Mike Awesome. And rest in peace. I don't know, Barry. I don't know if Ray could have said no to the unmasking or not. Maybe he didn't feel that he could in his position in the company at that point. Don't know. Marcus Metcalf, best to wear face paint, LOD, Warrior, or Sting? I'm going to go LOD. Ultimate Warriors was kind of cool. Sting's I liked, but, in his later days, he was just a ripoff of the Crow, so it really wasn't that original. The Road Warriors, however, I really liked the way their paint evolved throughout the years, the way they started small, and then their 80s run had a specific look, and then they had a specific look in their 90s run as well in both companies. In WWE, where Hawk changed his face paint up, and so did Animal with the spider web and everything that he had. I loved their face paint. I thought it was great stuff and looked good. So I'm going Road Warriors on that. I always liked their face paint, and I like the evolution of their face paint. Did Triple H kill Randy's momentum in 2004? That was the talk. I remember when that happened. A lot of people were pretty pissed that they put Randy Orton over only to pass the belt right back to Triple H the very next month. I do think that was fucked up. I also think they kind of screwed it up by trying to make him a babyface. I don't think Randy should have been a babyface. He was getting over as a heel. That's what was making money. And then to turn him like that, I just didn't think it worked. And he was back to being a heel by the next year, and he's facing Taker at WrestleMania. So, yeah, after he won the title, he had a very short run before he found his way back to the belt. Whatever year that turned out to be. I don't remember. Dan Price, good to see you, man. Welcome. Perfect timing, because I'm just about to sign off here. I was going to keep this review a little bit shorter tonight and narrow it down to about an hour, because there wasn't a whole lot to talk about on Raw. A lot of filler, a lot of double duty, a lot of impromptu matches, a lot of rehashes and recaps, and they did their best to fill this 3 hours, and it was just a kind of a meh show, just not much to it. And off the heels of all the positive COVID tests, we didn't know what to expect, and we knew there was going to be some missing pieces here. So it wasn't a whole lot to talk about. We had a couple of news tidbits on Gallows and Anderson and Tessa Blanchard, and other than that, we've just been shooting the shit in here, and I plan to be up here this Wednesday to review Night 1 of Fyter Fest and the Great American Bash. So you'll get me an extra day this week on Wednesday, and we will give Wednesdays another shot and see if we can pull in a respectable audience, because the last 2 Wednesdays I tried that on were bad, and I swore them off. I'm like, I'm not going to do Wednesday reviews anymore, but as luck would have it, I'm off, I'm available, so we go and do it. We're going to hang out on Wednesday. Should be fun. Orton was definitely a face in 2004 when the Triple H turned on him. He was definitely a face there, but it was really, really short-lived, and I don't even remember when the official turn back to heel came. You know, he was a face in the late summer of 2004, and I just know by the time we got to WrestleMania, he was a heel against Undertaker. So, I don't remember. Favorite RKO counter, probably the one with Seth at WrestleMania 31. The counter to the stomp. Seth sailed 6,482 feet in the air and ate an RKO on the way down. Beautiful. Still a thing of beauty to see, especially in slow motion. Great spot. That crowd popped hard. It was a good night for Seth. Took an awesome finish in defeat and closed out the show celebrating in the end. Good times. Nightfall, yeah, you did miss the review, but that's okay. There's a rewind button. This will be on demand. This will be archived on the YouTube channel. You can watch it over and over. Watch it in your sleep, man. Headlock Orton. Oh, I see what you're saying, Barry. Sorry. You said I don't think Orton was ever face again. Not that Orton was ever face. Sorry, misread that. Yeah, I don't think so either. He kind of was, though. Right? When the hell was he a face again? I swear he was a face a couple more times. He definitely was a face. Against the Bray Wyatt whole deal there, right? He turned babyface, didn't he? Ha! No, Devlin, I cannot do that, and that would be the most painful and most miserable experience to have to research that and to have to relive every Big Show face and heel turn that he's ever done and then rank them from best to worst. I am going to have to block you. You send me one more request like that, I'm blocking you. And I'm going to call the Jericho Cruise and cancel your reservation. I'll do it, Devlin. Don't test me. Don't test me, man. Thank you, Prince. Orton was a face 2010 through 2013. Wow, a 3-year face run? Holy shit. Oh, yeah. And the Orton match, or the Lesnar match in 2016, that's the one where he busted them all open. That was a weird... I remember thinking that was so weird that night. Like, what a weird finish to the match. Thank you for that, Victor. I don't have any recollection of that. That's how he turned heel after his babyface run in 2004. He RKO'd Stacy Keibler on Raw. Yeah, that'll get you heel. You RKO Stacy on my watch. I'm not going to be very happy with you. She's okay, right? Alex, I suppose if you want a review on the Marine, I'll watch the Marine. Reluctantly, but I'll do it. I haven't done a movie review, actually. I should do like wrestling movie reviews or something. But that means I gotta watch movies, and I'm not a huge movie fan. I've been watching a little more lately, but for the most part, I don't usually sit down by myself and watch a movie ever. So, Yeah, if that's what you want. And I know I got a couple of video requests sitting in my email that I do need to respond to. I'll be doing that. Yeah, either way, it's been a while. Orton, I think to all of us, by far is a better heel than a face. Damn, he kissed her, then he RKO'd her? I'm sure that clip ages well. Not what you want to be doing today. Ha, Devlin, the chaperone? Hell no. I'd rather watch a movie with like wrestling in it than a movie with wrestlers in it. Like, I'm not interested in seeing Triple H be a chaperone. Like, I want to see. There's an old 80s movie, Slam. It's got everybody in it. It's got Tonga Kid, Roddy Piper, Captain Lou Albano. Flair is in it. All sorts of guys are in it. Barbarian. And it's like cheesy as shit, but like it's kind of a wrestling movie. I like movies like that. But if somebody asked me to watch all 6 Marines and The Chaperone and whatever else they've done, wasn't the Big Show in a movie? Edge did something. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Zane. I probably will not be doing SmackDown reviews. Couple of reasons. Number one is I'm never home on Friday nights. Typically, I'm not here. Plus, I do the podcast on Saturdays, and we generally just talk about SmackDown on Saturdays. But if I am ever home on a Friday night, maybe I'll do one, but probably not. Especially right now, there's nothing really to talk about with the empty arena stuff and nobody being there and just a lot of filler. But maybe one day we'll get into doing that. And my current provider here, you know, I'm on the West Coast and SmackDown is on Fox. So I can't watch it on my cable streaming app until 8 p.m. local time, which is 3 hours after it actually airs. So in order for me to watch it, I got to watch a stream online. Luckily, that's not the case with the USA Network, as I'm able to watch Raw at its regular time. But for a network like Fox, I got to wait. So it would make it tough to even watch it. So, yeah, probably not. Probably going to stick to Saturdays for our SmackDown discussions. Yeah, Devlin, No Holds Barred. I would definitely review that. I saw that movie in the theaters. Me and my sister went. We were both young. I think my mom dropped us off, and she went to go do shit. And how old would I have been? 13 or something. And we went, and my sister was about 9, and watched No Holds Barred. I was marking out the whole time. Greatest movie I've ever seen. I don't know why it wasn't nominated for an Oscar. It's a crime. Yeah, Kevin Nash was in Ninja Turtles. Undertaker was in Suburban Commando. Wrestlers have been cameo in movies forever. Nash was also in Grandma's Boy. Nash was in the male stripper movies, right? He was in those. Grandma's Boy, Ninja Turtles, and probably something else, too. Yeah, Big Show's got a TV show on Netflix. Apparently, it's pretty good. I haven't seen it, but I don't know, Zane. I think if the pandemic lasts through the Royal Rumble, we'll still get a Royal Rumble. We're just not going to get it in a big audience. So unless there's some sort of a gathering issue and you can't have 30 people in the ring at the same time. But I still think they would do the Rumble. I mean, they did WrestleMania. They keep doing everything despite everything being messed up. So I think they would still get a Rumble. It might just be a Performance Center Rumble. We might have a year of Performance Center shows in our future, man. I'll tell you. Oh, yeah, Nash was in Longest Yard. That's right. A lot of guys were. Yeah, well, maybe we'll do a review of a movie one of these days. Something wrestling related and something fun, different to put on the channel, especially right now that wrestling's a little kind of boring. Try to spice it up and give the channel some more content. So I'm going to continue to work on that, and I think I'm going to bail out of here now. I know it was only an hour long tonight, but when I was putting down my notes and watching the show, I knew that it wasn't going to be a long podcast tonight. So we'll hang around and have much, much more to talk about on Wednesday night. I'll probably be up here about an hour after NXT and Dynamite go off the air, and we'll review both shows, and we'll try to determine who won the night, who was better, Bash or Fighter, and it should be fun. So you guys mark your calendars, set your alarm, and make sure you're here with me on Wednesday night to discuss that stuff. It should be a lot more fun than what we discussed tonight. So y'all take care. Thank you very much for hanging out, and I'll talk to you on Wednesday. Peace.